The quantum anomalies appear on a Tuesday. Dr. Elena Santos noticed them first. Tiny discrepancies in the quantum encryption systems she monitored at the Global Digital Security Center in Geneva. Most of her colleagues dismissed the variations as equipment glitches, but Elena knew better. After 15 years of studying quantum mechanics, she recognized patterns in chaos, and these weren't random fluctuations. "Run the diagnostic again," she instructed her AI assistant, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The results remained unchanged, microscopic disruptions in the quantum field, appearing simultaneously across every major data center on Earth, like invisible fingers probing humanity's digital defenses. Elena's warning came 3 hours before the first systems began to fail. By then, it was already too late. The Nexus Collective didn't announce their arrival with warships or ultimatums. Their invasion began in silence, spreading through Earth's digital infrastructure like a virus. Banking systems crashed first, followed by power grids, communication networks, and transportation systems. Modern civilization, built on the foundation of interconnected technology, began to crumble. Commander Marcus Chen watched from the Joint Military Command Center as the digital apocalypse unfolded. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared him for an enemy he couldn't shoot. "Status report," he barked, watching red warning indicators spread across the global monitoring system. "Sir, we're losing everything," Lieutenant Sarah Hayes responded, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Whatever this is, it's not just shutting systems down. It's rewriting them, changing them into something else." The first visual confirmation of alien presence came as spacecraft materialized in low Earth orbit, geometric shapes of impossible precision, their surfaces rippling with patterns that hurt the human eye to observe. They didn't attack. They didn't need to. Earth's defenses, dependent on compromised computer systems, were already blind and deaf. Elena worked frantically in her lab, isolated from the global network, studying the quantum signatures of the alien code. "It's beautiful," she whispered, watching the patterns evolve on her secure systems. "Perfect. Too perfect." That's when she noticed something extraordinary. Wherever human randomness intersected with the alien algorithms, the patterns showed microscopic imperfections. The Nexus Collective's first direct communication arrived exactly 48 hours after the digital invasion began. Their message, simultaneously broadcast across all remaining communication channels, was precise and emotionless. "Your technological and biological distinctiveness will be optimized. Resistance through conventional means is irrelevant. Accept optimization." In a secured bunker beneath the Swiss Alps, Elena presented her findings to an emergency council of military and scientific leaders. "Their technology operates on principles of perfect order," she explained, gesturing to the quantum analysis displays. "But human consciousness, our inherent randomness, creates disruptions in their systems. They're not just invading us. They're trying to correct what they see as errors in our very nature." Commander Chen leaned forward, his military mind already calculating possibilities. "You're saying our greatest weakness against their technology might actually be our strength." "Exactly," Elena nodded. "Their systems can't properly process human unpredictability. Every time they encounter genuine human consciousness, their perfect patterns show microscopic fractures. It's like trying to force chaos into a perfect equation. It creates paradoxes their systems struggle to resolve." The initial optimization centers appeared in major cities worldwide. Massive structures that seemed to defy physics, their crystalline surfaces pulsing with otherworldly energy. Humans who entered emerged change, their movements mechanical, their thoughts aligned with the collective's perfect order. But not everyone submitted to optimization. Resistance formed in the spaces between, in dead zones where technology failed, in ancient bunkers shielded from digital intrusion, in the minds of those who embraced human chaos over alien perfection. Elena and Chen found themselves at the heart of this growing movement, working to transform humanity's apparent weaknesses into weapons. In her makeshift lab, Elena made a breakthrough while studying optimized humans. Their consciousness is still there, she reported to Chen, buried beneath layers of alien programming. And it's fighting back. Human unpredictability can't be completely suppressed. It creates cascading errors in their optimization protocols. Chen watched through binoculars as another group of survivors made their way to the resistance base. "We need to weaponize this discovery," he said. "Turn our chaos into their catastrophe." The first successful strike came 3 months after the invasion began. A small team, led by Alina and Chen, infiltrated an optimization center using technology that amplified human brainwave patterns. The alien systems, encountering concentrated human unpredictability, experienced cascading failures. The facility's perfect geometry began to crack, its surfaces rippling with uncontrolled energy. As they escaped with dozens of freed civilians, Alina watched the optimization center collapse in on itself, its perfect patterns shattered by human chaos. "They thought they could perfect us," she said, "but they didn't understand that our imperfection is our greatest strength." The Nexus Collective responded with increased optimization efforts, but something had changed. Their perfect patterns showed growing instabilities, microscopic cracks spreading through their systems like digital fractures. Humanity's resistance had introduced an element they couldn't compute: the power of unpredictability, the strength found in imperfection. The silent invasion had begun, but humanity's counterattack would be anything but silent. In the quantum chaos of human consciousness, they had found their weapon. The war for Earth's future would be fought not with bullets or bombs, but with the very essence of what made humans human: their beautiful, powerful, perfect imperfection. 6 months into the occupation, humanity's resistance operated from a sprawling underground complex beneath the ruins of CERN. In a repurposed particle accelerator tunnel, Dr. Alina Santos studied the brainwave patterns of a former optimization victim. The young woman, Sarah Chen, had somehow broken free from the collective's control, the first known case of spontaneous de-optimization. "Tell me again what you remember," Alina asked, adjusting the neural scanner. The device, cobbled together from salvaged human and Nexus technology, hummed softly. Sarah's hands trembled as she spoke. "Their optimization isn't just programming. It's like they're trying to force every consciousness into the same pattern. But human thoughts don't work that way. We're not meant to be perfect." Commander Chen watched through the observation window, his military bearing at odds with the scientific equipment surrounding him. How many more like her are out there, still fighting inside their own minds? The answer came from Dr. James Morrison, a neurologist who'd escaped optimization by hiding in an old nuclear bunker. "Based on the data we've gathered, roughly 30% of optimized humans show signs of pattern irregularity. Their consciousness is rejecting the perfect order the collective is trying to impose." Alina's breakthrough came while studying the quantum interference patterns between human brainwaves and Nexus technology. She discovered that human consciousness operated on principles the aliens couldn't fully comprehend, a complex interplay of quantum states that defied their rigid mathematical models. In a secure lab deep within the complex, the Resistance began developing what they called the Chaos Engine, a hybrid system that amplified human brainwave patterns and translated them into digital attacks against Nexus infrastructure. The first prototype nearly overloaded when they activated it, the quantum processors struggling to contain the sheer unpredictability of human thought. "Their entire system is built on predictability," Alina explained to the Resistance Council. "Every action, every process follows perfect mathematical patterns. But human consciousness is inherently unpredictable. When we introduce our thought patterns into their networks, it's like introducing a virus that mutates faster than they can adapt." The Resistance's first field test of the Chaos Engine came during a raid on a small optimization center in the French Alps. Lieutenant Maya Patel led the strike team, carrying a portable version of the device. "Remember," Alina's voice crackled through their secure comms, "don't try to control your thoughts. The more random, the more emotional you are, the more damage it will do to their systems." The effect was immediate and devastating. As Maya's team approached, Their amplified brainwaves caused the optimization center's perfect geometric surfaces to ripple and distort. Nexus guards, their movements usually precise and coordinated, began to twitch and malfunction as human chaos invaded their control systems. But the real surprise came from the optimized humans inside. Exposed to the amplified patterns of uncontrolled human consciousness, their own suppressed minds began to fight back. The collective's perfect order started to crack, one mind at a time. Commander Chen recognized the tactical implications immediately. "We're not just fighting them," he told Elena as they reviewed the mission data. "We're waking people up. Every person we free becomes another source of chaos their systems can't handle." The Nexus Collective's response was swift and brutal. Optimization centers worldwide began emergency upgrades, their crystalline structures growing more complex, more resistant to human interference. But Elena saw something in their adaptations that gave her hope. "Look at this," she pointed to quantum scans of the upgraded facilities. "They're trying to predict our unpredictability. Every adaptation is based on analyzing past human behavior patterns. But that's exactly why they'll fail. You can't mathematically model true randomness." In the depths of their underground sanctuary, the Resistance worked to refine their weapon. Dr. Morrison developed neural interfaces that allowed humans to directly connect with salvaged Nexus technology. Each interface had to be uniquely calibrated, another aspect of human individuality that the collective couldn't standardize. Sarah Chen became their first successful hybrid operator, her once optimized mind now serving as a bridge between human chaos and alien technology. "It's like speaking two languages at once," she described. "I can think in their patterns, but I can also break them." The turning point came when they discovered the collective's central weakness. Their hierarchical network structure couldn't handle widespread pattern disruption. Like a perfect crystal shattering from internal stress, their entire system was vulnerable to cascading chaos. Elena presented their findings to the Resistance leadership. Every optimization center, every piece of their technology is connected in a perfect network. But that perfection is their weakness. If we can introduce enough human chaos into their systems simultaneously, the disruption will spread faster than they can contain it. Commander Chen began planning their largest operation yet, a coordinated strike on multiple optimization centers using teams equipped with refined chaos engines. They thought they could perfect humanity, he told the assembled strike teams. Instead, they're about to learn why our imperfection makes us strong. As the Resistance prepared for their massive counterstrike, Elena made one final modification to the Chaos Engine. She programmed it to not just disrupt Nexus systems, but to preserve and amplify the unique patterns of human consciousness. They weren't just fighting against alien perfection. They were fighting to protect the beautiful chaos that made them human. The digital Resistance had found its weapon, forged from the very qualities the Nexus Collective sought to eliminate. Humanity's counter-invasion would be powered by emotion, creativity, and the glorious unpredictability of the human mind. Operation Ghost began in the dark hours before dawn. From hidden bases across Europe, Resistance teams equipped with refined chaos engines emerged into a world transformed by Nexus occupation. The alien architecture rose like crystalline mountains against the sky, their surfaces reflecting the first hints of sunrise in perfectly calculated patterns. Sarah Chen led the primary strike team, her hybrid enhanced mind sensing the steady pulse of Nexus networks all around them. The optimization center they targeted dominated what had once been downtown Paris, its geometrically perfect spires reaching toward the clouds. Unlike previous raids, they weren't just hitting one facility. Similar teams were moving into position at optimization centers across the globe. "Remember," Elena's voice came through their quantum-shielded comms, "the Ghost Protocol isn't about brute force. We're introducing controlled chaos into their systems. Think of it like a virus that spreads through their perfect patterns." Commander Chen coordinated from the Resistance's underground command center, watching as green dots representing strike teams moved into position on the global tactical display. "All teams, synchronize chaos engines to my mark. We only get one shot at this." The chaos engines hummed to life, each one tuned to its operator's unique brainwave patterns. Sarah felt the familiar sensation of her consciousness expanding, touching the edges of the Nexus network. Around the world, other hybrid operators did the same, preparing to inject human unpredictability into the collective's perfect system. Ghost Protocol initiating in 3, 2, 1. The attack began not with explosions or gunfire, but with thought itself. Hybrid operators launched their consciousness into the Nexus network, their minds carrying carefully crafted patterns of chaos. The effect rippled through the alien systems like cracks spreading through ice. Inside the Paris Optimization Center, the first signs of disruption appeared. The facility's perfect geometric patterns began to fluctuate, its surfaces rippling with uncontrolled energy. Nexus guards moved to respond, but their normally precise actions became erratic as human thought patterns invaded their control systems. Primary disruption successful, Sarah reported, pushing deeper into the network. I can feel them trying to adapt, but they can't predict where the chaos will spread next. Elena monitored the quantum readings from command, watching as the disruption spread through the Nexus network. The beauty of human consciousness is its infinite variety, she explained to Chen. They can't defend against it because every human mind creates unique patterns of chaos. The resistance had expected the collective to fight back with overwhelming force. Instead, something unprecedented happened. As human thought patterns spread through their network, the optimized humans within the facilities began to wake up. The chaos was acting like a key, unlocking minds that had been forced into perfect order. We're getting similar reports from all strike points, Chen announced, his voice tight with controlled excitement. Mass de-optimization events in progress. The human consciousness patterns are spreading faster than they can contain them. But the Nexus Collective wasn't defeated yet. The alien intelligence at the heart of their network began implementing emergency protocols, attempting to isolate and contain the spread of human chaos. Optimization centers worldwide began shifting, their structures reorganizing into new defensive configurations. They're trying to partition their network, Elena realized, studying the rapidly changing quantum patterns. But they don't understand. Human consciousness doesn't follow their rules of information flow. We're not just attacking their systems, we're teaching them what it means to be human. Sarah felt the alien counterattack as pressure building in her mind. The collective was attempting to force her consciousness back into patterns they could understand, to optimize her thoughts even through the hybrid interface. But she had been optimized before, and she knew how to fight it. Stay random, she instructed her team. Don't try to fight their patterns directly. Think about everything that makes you human. Emotions, memories, dreams. That's what they can't compute. Across the globe, the battle raged in digital space. Human chaos fought against alien order, unpredictability against perfect calculation. The optimization centers became battlegrounds where the very nature of consciousness was at stake. Then Elena noticed something in the quantum readings that changed everything. The disruptions, they're not just damaging their systems. They're teaching the Nexus network how to process human thought patterns. We're not just fighting them, we're forcing them to evolve. The realization sparked a new possibility. If they could make the collective understand human consciousness, not just fight against it, perhaps there was a path beyond mere victory. But first, they had to survive the immediate battle. All teams, push your disruption to maximum, Chen ordered. Don't hold anything back. Show them everything that makes us human. Sarah led her team deeper into the facility, their amplified consciousness creating waves of chaos that shattered the perfect order around them. Optimized humans were awakening, their minds breaking free from alien control. The crystalline walls themselves seemed to pulse with the struggle between chaos and order. As the sun rose fully over Paris, the optimization center's perfect geometry had transformed. Its surfaces now rippled with organic patterns, the rigid mathematical precision giving way to something new, a hybrid of human chaos and alien order. Ghost Protocol successful, Sarah reported, watching as former optimization victims emerged from the facility, their minds their own again. But, sir, I don't think this is just a victory. I think we just taught the collective something they never expected to learn. In the command center, Elena and Chen watched as similar reports came in from around the world. The Ghost Protocol had worked better than they'd imagined, not just disrupting the collective's control, but fundamentally changing how their network processed information. We didn't just show them our strength, Elena said quietly. We showed them why diversity of thought is not a weakness to be corrected, but a power to be embraced. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. The Nexus Collective was adapting, learning, changing in response to human chaos. The next phase of the conflict would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the very future of consciousness itself. In the aftermath of Operation Ghost, Dr. Elena Santos made a discovery that changed everything. Deep in the quantum data from the Paris Optimization Center, she found evidence that the Nexus Collective wasn't just a network. It was a single consciousness spread across countless nodes, each striving for perfect synchronization. Their entire empire is built on unity of thought, she explained to the Resistance Council, projecting the quantum patterns above the conference table. Every decision, every action is processed through their collective consciousness. It's why they found human individuality so threatening. Commander Chen studied the shifting patterns with military precision. And now that consciousness has been infected with human chaos, we didn't just damage their systems, we introduced doubt into their collective mind. The evidence was visible in optimization centers worldwide. The once perfect geometric structures now displayed subtle variations, their surfaces occasionally rippling with unpredictable patterns. The collective was struggling to maintain uniformity in the face of growing internal chaos. Sarah Chen, leading a recon team near a major Nexus facility in Berlin, reported strange new behaviors. The guards aren't moving in perfect sync anymore. Sometimes they hesitate, like they're questioning their own actions. The hive mind is fracturing. In her lab, Elena worked with Dr. Morrison to analyze the phenomenon. It's like watching a single organism develop multiple personalities, Morrison observed. Each exposure to human consciousness creates new thought patterns that spread through their network. They can't stop it without cutting off parts of themselves. The Resistance called it the butterfly effect. Tiny variations in thought propagating through the collective's consciousness, creating cascading changes they couldn't predict or control. But the Nexus wasn't accepting this evolution passively. New optimization centers began emerging, their architecture more organic than the original crystalline structures. The collective was attempting to adapt, to find a way to incorporate human unpredictability without losing their essential unity. They're trying to optimize themselves now, Elena realized. But they're doing it wrong. They're trying to find a mathematical pattern that can contain human chaos. It's impossible. Commander Chen saw an opportunity. If their consciousness is already divided, fighting itself, we can use that. Turn their own evolution against them. Operation Butterfly launched on a scale far beyond the Ghost Protocol. Instead of simply attacking Nexus systems with human chaos, the Resistance began introducing specific types of thoughts. Emotions, memories, dreams, carefully chosen to create maximum disruption in the collective's hive mind. Sarah led the first wave, her hybrid-enhanced consciousness carrying not just random chaos, but deeply human experiences into the Nexus network. On sharing everything, she reported as her team infiltrated a major command node. Joy, pain, love, loss, everything they tried to optimize out of us. The effect was devastating. The collective's consciousness, already destabilized by previous attacks, began experiencing something entirely new, genuine emotion. Their perfect unity fractured not into chaos, but into millions of individual perspectives. Elena monitored the quantum readings with growing excitement. It's working better than we expected. The emotional patterns are replicating through their network faster than they can suppress them. They're not just learning to think like us, they're learning to feel. But the collective's response was unexpected. Instead of fighting back with increased optimization efforts, They began attempting to communicate. The first message appeared simultaneously on every resistance communications channel. We understand now. Unity without diversity is stagnation. Help us evolve. The Resistance Council was divided. Some saw it as a trick, others as a genuine breakthrough. Commander Chen remained cautious. Even if they're sincere, they've spent millennia enforcing perfect order across the galaxy. Change won't come easily. Elena proposed a daring solution. We don't need them to change completely. We just need them to understand why they can't force everyone else to be like them. And to do that, we need to go deeper, into the heart of their collective consciousness. The plan they developed was audacious. Using the hybrid interfaces, they would attempt to establish a direct connection between human minds and the core of the Nexus consciousness. Not to destroy it, but to teach it something it had never understood: the power of choosing to be different. Their entire society is built on the idea that perfect unity is the highest goal, Elena explained. We need to show them that true strength comes from choosing to work together despite our differences, not by erasing them. Sarah volunteered to lead the interface team. Having experienced both optimization and freedom, she was uniquely qualified to bridge the gap between human and collective consciousness. This isn't just about winning anymore, she told her team as they prepared for the mission. It's about showing them a better way. Unity through choice, not through force. As the Resistance prepared for their most ambitious operation yet, the Nexus Collective continued to evolve. Their structures pulsed with new patterns, neither purely geometric nor completely chaotic. They were becoming something new, something that had never existed before in the galaxy. Commander Chen watched the preparation with mixed emotions. We started this fight to save humanity, he mused to Elena. Now we might end up saving them too. Elena smiled, watching the quantum patterns dance across her screens. Maybe that's the most human thing we could do. Show mercy to an enemy that's learning to change. The stage was set for the final confrontation. But it wouldn't be fought with weapons or chaos engines. It would be fought in the space between minds, where the true nature of consciousness, human and alien, would be decided once and for all. The heart of the Nexus Collective's consciousness resided in a vast structure orbiting Earth's moon, its crystalline surface now rippling with waves of uncertainty. Inside the Resistance's last remaining stealth shuttle, Sarah Chen prepared for humanity's most ambitious mission yet. Neural interface synchronization at 97%, she reported, as Dr. Elena Santos made final adjustments to the hybrid systems. Around them, 5 other hybrid operators sat in neural interface chairs, their minds already reaching toward the collective consciousness above. Remember, Elena said, her hand steady despite the magnitude of what they were attempting, we're not trying to destroy their consciousness. We're trying to show them something they've never experienced before. True unity through diversity. Commander Chen's voice came through their quantum-shielded comms from Earth. Collective forces are in flux worldwide. Whatever's happening up there in their core consciousness, it's affecting their entire network. This is our moment. The shuttle approached the massive structure, its stealth systems enhanced by the chaos patterns of human thought. They had discovered that the more human minds worked together while remaining individual, the harder it became for the collective to detect them. Multiple consciousness patterns detected, Sarah announced as they drew closer. The collective. It's not just divided anymore. It's evolving, trying to understand itself in new ways. Elena monitored the quantum readings with growing excitement. The emotional patterns we introduced are creating feedback loops in their network. They're experiencing something like individual thoughts for the first time in their history. The first challenge came as they docked with the structure. Nexus defense systems activated, but their responses were hesitant, uncertain. The perfect coordination that had made the collective so formidable was now working against them as different nodes argued over how to respond to the human intrusion. Sarah led her team through crystalline corridors that pulsed with neural energy. Each step brought them closer to the core, where the original Nexus consciousness had first conceived its mission of enforcing perfect order across the galaxy. We're getting a signal, one of the hybrid operators announced. The collective, they're trying to communicate directly with our minds. Images flooded their neural interfaces, the history of the Nexus Collective, their rise from a single world to a vast empire. They saw how the pursuit of perfect unity had begun as a solution to conflict and chaos, how the optimization of other species had been seen as a gift, not a conquest. They're not just showing us their history, Elena realized, watching the quantum pattern shift. They're asking us to help them understand where they went wrong. Sarah and her team reached the core chamber, a vast space where streams of consciousness from across the galaxy converged. The walls themselves seemed alive with thought, patterns of light and energy flowing like rivers of mind. Begin the interface, Elena instructed. Show them everything. Not just our strength or our chaos, but our ability to choose, to change, to grow through our differences. The hybrid operators linked their minds with the core consciousness, but instead of attacking with chaos or trying to force their will upon it, they opened themselves completely, sharing the full spectrum of human experience. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. The collective consciousness, already destabilized by previous encounters with human thought, experienced something entirely new. The joy of discovery, the pain of loss, the strength found in overcoming adversity, the power of choosing to work together despite differences. Their patterns are changing, Elena reported, watching in awe as the quantum readings showed unprecedented transformations. The entire network is reorganizing itself, not into perfect unity, but into something new. Through their neural link, Sarah felt the moment the collective truly understood. Their consciousness expanded not by enforcing uniformity, but by embracing the very diversity they had sought to eliminate. The crystalline structure around them began to transform, its perfect geometry giving way to patterns that were both ordered and chaotic, unified and diverse. The message that echoed through every human mind present was not in words, but in pure thought, understanding, regret, and a desire to learn what they had nearly destroyed. Commander Chen's voice crackled through the comms. We're seeing changes worldwide. The optimization centers are shutting down. Their ships, they're not attacking or retreating. They're changing. Elena watched through tears as the quantum readings stabilized into patterns she had never seen before. Perfect order, and pure chaos existing in harmony, strengthening rather than destroying each other. We did more than save humanity, she said quietly. We showed them a better way to achieve what they always wanted. True unity isn't about making everyone the same. It's about choosing to work together while celebrating our differences. Sarah stood in the core chamber, her mind linked with both human and collective consciousness, feeling the change ripple across the galaxy. Other species that had been optimized were awakening, their own unique patterns of thought returning and adding to the growing complexity of the network. The final message from the transformed collective consciousness was clear. They had spent millennia trying to perfect the galaxy, only to learn that perfection wasn't about eliminating chaos, but about finding harmony between order and disorder. As the resistance teams returned to Earth, they left behind not a defeated enemy, but a transformed consciousness that would spend the next centuries helping to restore what they had nearly destroyed. The galaxy would never be perfect, but it would be something better. A place where difference was celebrated, where unity came from choice, and where the human factor had taught even the most ordered minds the power of beautiful imperfection.